Well, I'm going to go ahead and start this opportunity presentation. It is, I'm excited to be with you for the next 30 minutes. We're actually down to 28 minutes. This opportunity presentation will end at the bottom of the hour. But I'm going to move forward. You have been invited to participate in this LifeVantage business opportunity webinar. My name is Seth Mulder, and it's my privilege to be your host on tonight's call, and for those of you on the web as well on this live webinar. I am hosting this call from my home in central Utah, just about an hour south of Salt Lake City, in my home office, and that's where I'm based out of. I basically, just to tell you a little about myself, I started working for a large corporation. I was a corporate America guy. Did that for about 10 years. And about 8 or 9 years into that, I decided that I read a book, actually. I shouldn't say I made a decision. I read a book that changed my life, and that book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Maybe some of you read it. The author is Robert Kiyosaki, one of the best-selling authors in the business section of every Barnes and Noble and Borders bookstore and online, Amazon.com, etc. This book profoundly changed my perspective on how businesses work. And I ended up leaving corporate America and becoming, you could say, an entrepreneur. I don't know if there's a better way to say it. Maybe a home-based entrepreneur, or just somebody who's free to work at home. Because at the end of the day, that's all I ever really wanted. I just wanted to be home. I wanted to be able to make enough income, or maybe I should correct that. After I made enough income, I wanted to be able to make a significant amount of income. But primarily, I wanted to be able to have freedom and to do that from home. And that led me to this industry. So I want to start out tonight's presentation as we spend the next 25 minutes together. And I want to bring something on the table. Okay, I want to talk about business and ask you a question. Are you in business? Are you in business right now, today? Question mark. Next question. Who's in business? Who's in business these days? Is it people who own stores, own shops? Is it the small business owners? Is it large business owners? This is my thought on the question. Everyone's in business. If you have expenses, in other words, if you have to buy things, if you have to buy food, if you have to buy shelter, right? If you have a mortgage payment, if you have a rent payment or whatever, if you have to buy that, if you need to pay for that, if you have other expenses, electricity and phone and internet and transportation, if you have expenses, then you're in business, period. Now, I work with cardiologists who are in business. They have expenses. They have income. They generate income to offset those expenses, right? I work with DOs, okay, and DCs, and I work with stay-at-home moms, homemakers. And are homemakers in business? Yeah, they're probably in the greatest business in the world because they juggle so much. But do they have incomings? Pardon me. Do they have expenses? And do they have income? Yes, all those things are the reality of the homemaker. What about the blue-collar worker? What about the construction worker? Are they in business? Yeah. What about the middle manager or the new employee in the family company or in the middle-sized company or in one of the Fortune 500 companies? Are they in business? Absolutely. What about the student right now? In fact, I met with two students today who are freshmen in college, and I asked them that same thing. We talked about how, oh yeah, they're in business because they have expenses. If you have expenses that you need to pay for, you're in business. And because of that fact, all right, because of that fact, I think everybody needs some business education, and they need to think like a business person. You may be a homemaker business person. You may be a cardiologist business person. You may be in an MBA program as a business person. You may be a freshman in college as a business person. You may be in construction. It doesn't really matter, okay? We're all in business. So I have a couple of ideas and thoughts about, for those who are in business, things that we need to be smart about. Number one, in business, you need to make more money than you spend, okay? Would you agree? I mean, in the end, the goal, the idea is we need to make more than we spend. Now, how are we doing in our homes? How are we doing generally across the board in the United States? Do people make more or do they spend more? I asked a freshman in college, a young woman today, that exact question, and she didn't hesitate. She said, obviously, we spend more in our country. You know, our people, our families, the business of families spend more than they make. Okay, they need more income. They probably also should readjust their budget, but no question they need more income coming in. I said, well, our government, how about our government? Does our government spend more than it makes, or does it make more than it spends? And she, you know, she hung her head and said, you know, it's unfortunate, it's terrible. Why even ask me the question? We know the answer. We make a lot more. Pardon me. We spend a lot more than we make. So how are we doing in the homes in America? How's the government doing from just a smart business perspective? Not too well. Okay, so that's the first concept, is making more than you spend. Tonight I'm gonna focus on how to make more. All right, a business to help you make more. Second concept in business. Well, let me jump back. If you're in business and you're in home economics, in other words, we're talking about your home and the business of your home, and you're making less than you spend. Another way to put it is you're spending more than you make. How has that business education that you've received treated you thus far? Have you received the right business education? Because it stands to reason that either you haven't received that or you didn't pay attention to it if you're making less than you spend. And what I want to talk to tonight is solely about education. We're going to talk a little about some amazing technology in the healthcare sector that, in fact, probably, I don't think this is an overstatement, the single most important supplement in the world, okay, for humans and animals, okay, specifically dogs. I don't think that's an overstatement. We're going to be talking about some of those things, but the real foundation is business education, how to make more, okay? Second concept that I learned in that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the second concept of being wisely, having an adequate business education is this: the word assets, A-S-S-E-T-S, assets. What is an asset? An asset is something of value and that pays you money, or that makes you money, okay? An asset is something of value and that pays you money, all right? And maybe I should also say, it has value and can pay you money independent of you, right? Independent of your involvement with the asset. The asset itself generates that income, okay? So then I jump back and I say, well, great, let's look at your business. You're in business because every person's in business. Are you making more than you spend? Okay, let's look at that. Let's evaluate that. And then I'll ask you this question. How are you doing on creating assets? Things of value that pay you money, and primarily without your continual involvement in those assets. And that's something I read that I learned in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, was that most of us have jobs. Now that's not bad or good. It just is. It's just the way it is, okay? You have jobs. Now, is your job an asset? Well, if we go back to the definition, that asset is something of value that pays you money, primarily without you having to continually be involved in it, then if we evaluate this concept of a job, is a job really an asset? And the answer comes down to, well, no, it's not. Well, then if it's not an asset, what is it? Well, a job is a job. And that's great. That's wonderful. Again, it's not bad or good. It just is. But a job is not an asset. A job is a job, and you have that job as long as you continue to work. And so job in and of itself, that concept may be somewhat contrary to the concept of owning a successful and profitable business. Okay? Tonight we're going to be talking about developing and creating a high-powered, super beneficial, very profitable asset as we talk about LifeVantage. The third concept that I talk about when we talk about business is this idea of cash flow. All right, how the cash comes in, how often it comes in, and in what manner does it come in. And we're specifically going to be talking tonight about royalty cash flow or royalty income. Royalty income is income that comes in today because of work that you did, not necessarily today, but the work that you did previously. I'll give you an example. I affectionately call it Harry Potter money. Okay? Think of J.K. Rowling. She's a billionaire in the United Kingdom. She wrote a very successful series of books entitled Harry Potter, right? I want you to think about that first book. It's been a long time since that first book came out. How many years has it been? I don't know, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. How many times did she write the first book? Now, she put a lot of effort into it. Is it a lot of work to create a book? Yeah, you go back, you write it, you edit, you write, you edit, but essentially you create that book one time. Now, how many times has J.K. Rowling been paid on that first installment of the Harry Potter series? And the answer usually is, well, right, it's millions, right? Yeah, maybe tens of millions. That book has sold millions of times. And why did she get paid? Because every time that book sold, even though she'd done the work prior to the selling, prior to the transaction, prior to the customer finding out about it and purchasing it, and maybe it had been months or even years, she was paid again, right? That is royalty income. That's this cash flow concept that we're going to be talking about tonight as we talk about the LifeVantage opportunity in this webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and advance to the first slide here. We're going to be talking about a scientifically based product, okay? Our flagship product is a product called Protandim. Now, hopefully, before you have come to this webinar, you've done maybe a little bit of homework, and that should have been the viewing or the watching online or via DVD. Maybe you got together with a friend. Maybe they called you and asked you to watch a video online before inviting you to this webinar. That video can be found at www.abcliveit.com. So abcliveit.com. And on that website is a video that I saw just a few years ago. That is an investigative report that was that was done by ABC News and then aired in 2005 on one of their very popular shows, hosted by one of their top anchormen, a gentleman by the name of John Quinones. Okay, and they were basically going in because they had heard about this, what I call a medical discovery. All right, Protandim isn't a product even. I want to cross that word out up there on the screen. I don't even refer to this as a product. It's a breakthrough. It's a scientific breakthrough. And to recap that video, just really briefly, Protandim is a natural supplement, all right? It turns the human body back on. In some ways of looking at it, it can be 1,000,000 times more effective than taking antioxidants, okay, to protect the body. That's what you'll see in that video. If you've not seen that video, part of your homework is to look at that video. Because if you don't look at that video and you only listen to what I say, because I'm not going to recap the full video, you will miss the magnitude of what we're talking about tonight. I'm going to get to some of this information on the slide now. What we know through human clinical studies is that if you take Protandim, and when I say take it, it's 1 pill a day. If you take 1 pill a day, we know that you can experience an average of a 40% reduction in oxidative stress in the human body in 30 days. Okay? A recap on what oxidative stress is. Oxidative stress, that may or may not be a term that you're familiar with. Now, I'm not a prophet, okay? But I'm trying to be like one, just in my personal life. But oxidative stress, I believe that what you're going to see over the next 5 and 10 and 20 years is a literal revolution in the education and health education, and people are going to know what oxidative stress is, right? Just like they know what antioxidants are today. Just like they know what free radicals are today. Over the next 5 and 10 and 20 years, I believe that that's going to be an education revolution in the healthcare industry. Scientists know about it. They're doing research. Over 100,000 studies are done on oxidative stress already, primarily in the last 20 years. But it takes time for it to get from the academic, scientific side to the lay population, to the doctors, okay, to the professionals, and then to the population as a whole. To support this and to show you the foundation on which this statement, which is a bold statement, is made. You can go to pubmed.gov, that's PUBMED, as in published medical, PubMed.gov. That's the National Institute of Health website. And if you type in Protandim, you'd see 15 peer-reviewed published studies by major universities around the world, including Texas Tech, including LSU, including the Ohio State University, including University of Colorado, including Virginia Commonwealth University. And the science is rock solid, okay? Now I want you to think about this. Who needs Protandim? Who has oxidative stress? Everyone, right? How serious is it? It's as serious as a heart attack. So from a marketing standpoint, who needs Protandim? Everyone. I can tell you that those people I have introduced this product to have had tremendous, tremendous results. Scientifically, we know that it works. Scientifically, we know that it's validated. It's probably the single most validated and scientifically reviewed positively supplement, well, it is that I've ever seen in my 20-year career in the health and nutrition industry, and yet nobody knows about it. It's important. Along with that product, the company has two other products. One is called True Science. That is basically the Protandim, okay, the pill. Take those same 5 ingredients and put them into a cream, a product that you can use for anti-aging on the outside of the body. Okay, so the pill is for the inside of the body. The cream is for the outside of the body. We also took it and formulated it in dosages and in a way that it would be appropriate and palatable for dogs. Okay, and it's called Canine Health. Dogs have oxidative stress going on in their body. And anybody who has dogs knows that things like hip dysplasia and joint issues and brain cognition and eyesight and all these things, the degeneration of those, the degeneration of habits happens so much faster, and it is so visible. And we have a canine health product that has gone through scientific validation, all right, real-time science and study to prove that it actually works, similar Protandim. So that's a very brief recap on Protandim and the technology in these 3 products. And those are the only 3 products that we're talking about. You don't need a catalog. It's just those 3 products based on this technology. It's patented. The recipe is patented and protected. Nobody can copy this, all right, for close to 2 decades. Let's move on to timing. Timing, we could talk about timing in a couple of ways. First, we could talk about it from a product life cycle, okay? Because we might think, well, wait a second, this product was developed 10 years ago. It was on ABC News 8 years ago. Why doesn't everybody know about it? Well, because not everybody knows about it, and that's just the way it is. If you take just about any single technology or major company or movement or social movement, social program, these things have a life cycle. And if you go back to Economics 101 or Economics 110 at the university, all right, they will take you through a curve, an S curve, that looks similar to this. And start on the left-hand side of that curve. Everything starts at 0. After it's developed, it goes to 1, and then to 2, and then to maybe 3.5, and then to 6. And it starts very slow. As good as it might be, it starts slow, and it starts to gain some steam, and then it will grow into this point called critical mass. That's represented by the light blue circle. And what happens at critical mass is there's enough of it, whatever it is, in the marketplace that people start to talk about it faster, and it spreads like wildfire. It's literally viral. And it may take you 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or 5 years to hit a critical mass point. And then in the same amount of time, it might increase by 5 or 10-fold what it did in those first 5 years. In the second 5 years, it might increase by 10-fold or more. Why is this? It's a phenomenon associated with this growth curve in a product life cycle. So let me ask you this. Have you heard Protandim before? 99.9% chance that you've never heard about it before, even though it's probably the world's most important supplement. Okay? We have a huge blue sky before us. Nobody knows about this product. Now, I also want to speak about timing from a corporate perspective, because if we overlay a product life cycle and a company life cycle, they look very similar. Okay? If you look at a company, say an old company, take Walmart, and you're to look at that first section, the first third of that graph, all the small stuff, right? All that small growth from 0 to the blue dot. That took Walmart about 20 years to get through that blue dot, to get to that blue dot. Did you know that? They were around for literally, not years, decades. They were around for decades, before they hit that critical mass and went into this hyper growth and became an American household, and now we could say even a worldwide phenomenon, okay, from a business perspective. So if we talk about earning potential, okay, where is the greatest earning potential? Is it in the first part of the curve, when the company's young, formulation and pioneering? Is it in the second part of the curve, momentum? Or is it in the third part of the curve, stabilization? Well, let me first preface that by saying you can make money at any stage, okay? You can make money at any stage. But the magnitude and the speed with which you can make money is different. And the greatest opportunity occurs based on the amount of growth of that company and the product life cycle that you can participate in. So in other words, the further you can move your participation, your introduction and proactive work with something to the left of that primarily to the left of that critical mass little blue circle, the greater your earning potential. Let me repeat, you can make money at any stage of this game if you've got a good product or a medical breakthrough. But the further you are, the closer you are to that critical mass stage, the greater your chance of making even more significant amounts of income, okay, of income generation. And our LifeVantage is young. You probably haven't heard about it. You probably haven't heard about Protandim, and so we might place that that timing. Where are we as a company? Maybe where that blue star is. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk about generating. And actually, before I talk about generating income, I'm just gonna leave the slide here for a minute and mention 30 seconds about trends. Okay, why healthcare? Why this product? Well, I'll tell you why this product. Because I've seen it change lives. Because I take it every day. Because I understand the science. Because I understand where I think the education and the demand for oxidative stress reducing products is going to be over the next 20 years. I'll just ask you a simple question. Because you could invest your time in lots of different businesses, right? You could be involved in the technology businesses. There's probably a lot of opportunity there. How about oil and gas? Oil is always expensive, it seems. What about energy? Besides oil and gas, what about energy and alternative forms of energy and green energy and conservation? I think those are all really cool markets, and I think that there'll be growth there. What about what about entertainment? Yeah, maybe, I don't know. What about travel? I mean, there are all these big industries. Let me ask you this: what about healthcare? Where's healthcare going to be over the next 20 and 30 and 40 years? Simply put, is healthcare going to be bigger in 20 years, or is it going to be smaller than it is? To put it another way, is there going to be more money chasing healthcare answers in 20 years than there is now? And I think it's a really simple answer. Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot bigger. Healthcare is going to be hugely bigger in 20 years than it even is now. And right now, it is huge. Well, I want to be involved in businesses that are going to last a long time. In other words, the demand curve is going to last for decades. And that's why I'm in healthcare. There's another reason, because it's meaningful. Can you think of another market that is as meaningful as healthcare and that's going to be as big as healthcare? And I think it's difficult. There may be other markets that might be as big. Who knows? Either way, you can make money there. But is there the healthcare industry has this trump card, if you will. What's more meaningful, healthcare, your health, or your cell phone? I'll tell you, if you have chronic illness or terminal illness or acute pain, that cell phone bill becomes pretty insignificant in a hurry. If you're the one with that pain, or if somebody in your family or someone close to you is in that pain or has that concern on their mind, it's almost difficult to conceive or to contemplate anything else. That's why healthcare has that economic trump on every other industry, because it's the single most important. It's the single most important. Then it has a priority on where people spend their money. Okay, and that's another reason that what we're doing with LifeVantage is so significant from a business standpoint, because if you're in business, you need to make more income, you're looking to develop an asset that can pay you money and that has royalty income, then we just insert a breakthrough technology, Protandim, True Science, Canine Health, and we have a long-term big strategy, high profitability business. And so I want to talk a little about the compensation plan over the next few minutes before we end at the bottom of the hour. There are 6 ways that you can get paid in our LifeVantage compensation plan. I'm going to spend a little more time on certain components than others, okay? First, fast start bonus. Okay, so as you sign up in the business, in order to sign up in the business, you invest $630 into you. All right, you invest $630 into your own business. And for that $630, the company sends you what's called a Vantage Pack. It's a beautiful box. It's basically a business in a box with over $500 of product, wholesale cost, close to $600 or closer to $600 retail, plus training materials and marketing materials, audio, visual, everything's in there, okay? And then you're going to start talking to people because you have an asset that most people don't use, and that's your network. All right, we network every single day. If you were the president of if you had just left Pixar, and you were going to start a new animation and entertainment company, are you going to put an ad in the USA Today or on Monster.com or CareerBuilder.com to find your business partners who you're going to start that company with? Not a chance. You're going to go to people that you know and say, I love you for this reason, I love you for this reason, I need you for this reason, let's start this company together. Well, duh. That's what successful people do. Successful people network. And so you have an asset, it's your network. So you're simply going to introduce your network to this information that we're sharing. And they're either going to be interested in the product only or what I call the big picture. That's the product and the business. Okay? So as you share the business with people, you're going to be paid a bonus on all of their new purchases. Okay, as you share the product with people, you're going to be paid 30% of that first order. So every time you introduce the business or the product to someone, you're going to be paid 30 to 40% of the product volume that they order. Okay, so anywhere from $10, $8, $10, $12 for introducing the product and they buy that first bottle, or $210, if they sign up in the business. I'm going to move on to the next concept. Okay, let me actually back up here. Let's talk about this. I don't want you to look at the words here. I just want you to look at this diagram. Okay, what is the potential? What is the potential of something, a message, traveling from you to a whole bunch of other people? If you share something, could that reach 3 or 4 people, or could it reach 300 or 400 people, or could it reach 3,000 or 4,000 people? I'm not going to say it's infinite because we have a bonus called the Infinite Fast Start Bonus, but there are a limited number of people. There are only 6 or 7 billion people on the earth, right? But it's almost infinite. It's almost difficult to comprehend how you can share something and that can continue in a word of mouth chain reaction with astounding results. Well, here's the deal. As you start the business, you invest $630. If you help 3 people sign up in the business, you're going to be paid $210 for each of them as that happens. So the first person joins, you make $210. The second person joins, you make $210. The third person joins, you make $210. You made $630. So in other words, when you start the business, if you help 3 people join and partner with you and go to work as well to start their own business, to make more money, to have an asset that pays cash flow royalties, then you've earned your investment back, your initial investment back, right? The $630. Well, then what do? Then you and those, your teammates or your coaches, your mentors, your business partners, you work together to help those 3 people find their first 1, 2, and 3 people, right? And it literally starts a chain reaction, okay? And that's your job. Find your first 3 and help them start to begin to find their first 3. And what happens is it goes from 1 person to 3 to 5 or 6 or 10 to 20 or 30 to 50 or 70. That's how word of mouth works, right? So I want to introduce the next concept based on your understanding of this message going from you to the next person, to the next person, to the next person, okay? And the way that I want to explain that is this. It's called a royalty commission, okay? It's that concept we already talked about at the beginning of this presentation. I want you to think about this. Let's say that you, and I'm just going off of this diagram or this chart that we see here on your screen. let's say that you talk to 5 distributors, okay? In other words, you find 5 partners, 5 distributors, and they each have a few customers, okay? So we're not talking about a huge business. Just they each have a small business. Whatever those 5 people purchase for the rest of their life, you're eligible to receive a 2% royalty. Oops. A 2% royalty on whatever those people purchase the rest of their life, okay? 2%, man, that's not a lot. In this example, that's a whopping $20, okay? That's 2 for 2, that's 2 for 20 at Applebee's, right? This month. But what about next month? Well, those same people place those orders because they love the products, right? Or maybe they place more or less, or whatever. It doesn't matter the amount, but whatever they place, let's say it's the same amount, you're going to be paid 2% again. So in other words, next month, you get $20 for their orders. Now here's the question. Did you re-educate those people in the second month? No, you didn't. What about the third month? No, you didn't. What about the 23rd month? No, you didn't. The royalty income continues to come in though, and that's one of the key concepts in business. Are you making money based on what you do today and today only? Or are you being paid for all of the value that you've brought to the company, to the business? Are you being paid months and years and decades? Yes, I know people who have been paid decades in this industry. Not in this company because we're young. And so it's your turn to be one of those founders in the new brand name, LifeVantage. But people are paid weeks and months and years and decades for work that they did weeks and months and years and decades prior to that. Why? It's not because it's a scheme, it's because value was delivered every single month, right? To compare it to the Harry Potter example, value was delivered to that new customer who bought that book years later. In this example, that product is being delivered to that same customer, and so you're receiving that 2% royalty. Well, here's where it gets fun, because your primary responsibility is to develop a team, right? So you find your 5. Let's say that they find 5 each. That's 25 new people. On that second level, in other words, not the people that you talk to, that's your first level, but that second level, the company does not pay you 2%. They pay you 5%, okay? In this example, that's $250 plus the 20, so you're at $270 now. What if those 25 people each talk to a few more people? Let's say that turns into 125 people. You're paid 9% on that level of people, all right? So the further it's getting away from you here, the more you're starting to be paid. It's all about starting something and then pushing it away from you. And the further you push it away from you, the more powerful the story becomes. And word of mouth starts to take over. So if you look at this schematic here on this chart on the screen, you can see that you can get paid up to 9 levels or 9 connections. Think of a friend 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 of a friend, taking these products, and you get paid on all of their orders. Okay. Pretty powerful concept. If you look at the income, we're talking about very significant, deep royalty income, okay? We have lots and lots and lots of people making hundreds of dollars a month and thousands of dollars a month and tens of thousands of dollars a month. And that amount that they make is just a real simple formula. Hey, you have a number of people in your total organization, in a total team, because you opened your mouth. You get paid a percentage of that. Average is about 5%, and that comes every single month. There's no termination to the royalty contract. There's no maximum amount of money that you can make in a specific given period of time or cumulatively. The sky's the limit. That is a beautiful business concept. Okay, last bonus I'm going to share with you is something we call the elite pool. Okay, and I want to bring this back to this concept of who needs this product, ProTandem, who needs True Science, who needs Canine Health, who has oxidative stress. Well, in this case, the who is every person and every dog. Okay, every person, every person with skin, and every dog. How serious is oxidative stress? It's as serious as malfunction, aging, and disease. And when you experience it, there's about nothing more serious. Okay, and it's about prevention as opposed to cure. Okay, it's about being prepared and taking something to help keep you youthful now so you don't have to worry about that. So how big is the market? Well, it's every person, everyone with skin, and every dog. Okay, so this This is a big deal. It's obviously a worldwide deal. And the company is now expanding into other countries, even though we haven't hardly touched the United States yet, okay? But what the company does is they're going to take 4% of every sale on every product every single month. And they're going to put that into a pool, okay? And then they're going to share that pool with those individuals who have helped to create the brand name. Now, who are those individuals? Well, simply put, just like any organization, when you start LifeVantage, you start at the beginning. And as you share the business and the product with people, as people start the business and become customers, the amount of product being purchased in your team goes from 0 to a little, right? From a little group to a medium group, from a medium group to a large group, etc. And so the company has, based on the amount of product being purchased in your team, they have some different rankings. And those rankings are pretty easy to remember. They're the numbers 1 through 10. So you start as a distributor, and as you get your first $1,000 of product that runs not through you personally, but through you and everybody that you talk to, and everybody that they talk to and they talk to, right? The entire team, you get a ranking of Pro 1, okay? And then when that gets up to maybe $2,500 in a month, it's at Pro 2. Now this is not income, this is just the total amount of product, right? Well, you get that to maybe to 5,000 and you're a Pro 3. And as your business increases or grows, so does your ranking with the company, so 1 through 10. So here, this elite pool is shared with people who've basically taken their business to an elite status. And those are those at Pro 7, 8, 9, and 10. And so how the elite pool works is the company takes all the sales in a given month, let's say the month of October, they put 4% into a pool, and then they divide that 4% into 4 equal 1% pools. And they split that 1% of all products sold worldwide with everyone equally who is at ranks 7, 8, 9, and 10, no matter where they reside in the world, okay? Then the company takes that second 1% pool and they share that equally with everyone at the 8, 9, and 10 level. They take that third percent and share that equally with everyone at Pro 9 and Pro 10. And then they take that fourth 1% share and they split that equally with everyone in the world who is qualified at the Pro 10 level that month. So every month, 4% is divided between those 4 groups of people. And we're talking about very significant amounts of income. Here's what's beautiful about that. Can you imagine, I'm just going to give you an example and we'll wrap up because we're past the bottom of the hour by 10 minutes. Can you imagine, having the distribution rights to, say, I don't know, Coca-Cola. Let's say that you're in the Mountain West region of the United States, Nevada, Montana, Colorado, Utah, Idaho, kind of area, and you work really hard in your area, and of course because there's a lot of Coca-Cola sold. And I didn't say Coke, I said Coca-Cola. There's a lot of Coca-Cola being sold. You're going to get paid a special override from the company based on what's selling in your organization, right, in your region. That's great, wonderful. Problem is you got to go in the office every day, you got to work your tail off, and you're probably working 60 to 90 hours a week, but that's beside the point. That was your choice. But let's say that you do well in your region, you're making money. But then the company says, listen, because you've helped promote the brand, you are qualified already to receive a portion, a royalty, on every bottle of Coca-Cola sold in every region throughout the world for the rest of your life. Because you help build a brand in your area with your network, okay? That's how I think about this elite bonus pool. You get involved. You have a network of people, and I believe you already know everybody you already need to know in order to create a profitable business. And all you have to do is pick up the phone and say, you got to watch this video. I just got some amazing information about a medical breakthrough. And they watch the ABC primetime video, and then you go from there. And you connect them to this webinar or to your own sponsor or mentor in the business, and you get them a full education, right? 45 minutes of education can change their life and change yours. And you do that, and you're successful through your network, the people that you know and that they know and that they know. But it started because you did something. You do that, and then the company, as this grows literally, not only worldwide, but domination in the worldwide business arena, you're going to get paid a portion of every product sold worldwide. You know, how would you like that for the rest of your life? So that's how I think about this elite bonus pool, and it's significant. The company's currently operating in the United States. That's our best market. Japan, we just started that officially January of this year. Hong Kong, officially January of this year. Australia and Canada, Mexico, okay? And we just announced that we're going to the Philippines. The biggest and best market, by the way, United States. Biggest opportunity right now for you, you're living in the United States, it's in the United States. It's wherever you are, because nobody virtually knows about LifeVantage or Protandem, but you do now. So with that, I'm going to move to this last slide. Those are the three products. Protandem, the most important supplement on the face of the planet. True Science, anti-aging cream that incorporates Protandem into it. It's phenomenal. And Canine Health, which is scientifically formulated to reduce oxidative stress in canines, okay? And scientifically formulated for canines themselves. Phenomenal products. They change lives. I want to thank you for being on this presentation tonight. I want to wrap up with this. 11 years ago, I looked at becoming an entrepreneur in this industry, word of mouth, network marketing, home-based businesses, so that I could work from home, just like I am tonight, sitting in my home office. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing when the money that you earn because you utilize a system like this is greater than the money that you need to live on. That's a wonderful thing. It's even a more fantastic dreamlike state when it becomes multiple times what you need to live on. What I can tell you is this. People who have seen and understand the science behind this product, they don't have to be a doctor. They just watch the video and get it. They have taken this over the last months and several years, and they have created retirement incomes. In other words, incomes that make it so that they don't have to work if they don't want to. That's a powerful concept. I made that decision 11 years ago based on this feeling that I had in my heart. And the feeling was not, I can do this, because I didn't feel like that. I was scared to death. But the feeling was this, if I don't try this, if I don't do this, I'm going to look back on this moment in 5 years or in 10 years, and I'm going to regret it. And I can tell you, I acted on that feeling, the fear of regret. And it has been one of the best decisions I've made in my life. And so I now pass the baton to you. You've been on this webinar. You need to get back to the individual, the professional that invited you to be here. You need to ask them and say, what's the next step? You need to tell them what you liked about this and then ask them, what's the next step? And you need to make a decision. The decision is yours. It's not ours. We don't have time to pressure people. If you don't see this, then don't do it. I saw it and I knew that it was something that I had to participate in. And it has been nothing short of life-changing. And that's not just for me, because I've been able to change the lives of many, many, many of my friends from a health perspective and from a business, financial, the economics of their home, to the extent that, that it's hard to put into words, but it is real. This company is about real product or true products, true people, and true prosperity. And that's why my friend invited you to be to this webinar tonight. We'll be doing another webinar exactly 1 week from tonight, but don't wait until then to get the ball rolling. You can get it rolling immediately. So with that, I want to wrap up this call. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And God bless you in all that you do. Thank you. And this call is officially in the books. Thanks, everyone, and have a great night.